think we're live. Usually there's a 0 that shows up there, but actually maybe it's because I don't have that tab open. Those are my noisy neighbors. I found that if I don't have the right tab open, the Kickstarter tab, it doesn't update. So that must, and so now, so then I switched to the Kickstarter, so it actually updates. But now it must not be updating the analytics. Let me check. Yeah, it looks like that was it. That's annoying. That means I can't have multiple tabs open and monitor them at once. Anyway, it looks like so I'm actually live. So anyway, this was the finale to the Kickstarter. So today I'll do the same thing we do every stream, mine some blocks. In this so for this stream, I have neighbors are super loud tonight. So for this stream, I have completely refactored the block mining simulation game output. So the way things are printed to the screen is like completely different now, and I did that to for a couple of reasons. Number one, I can add some improvements and increased efficiency to make the printing a bit faster, more efficient. And it was also necessary, so in order to break this up into like a couple different frames, so that this can be like a top, so it can be its own kind of frame, and then this can be a separate frame, so that I can actually have some kind of like focus mechanism to go between them. And I actually just today I was working on getting that major refactor finished, and as of like a couple hours ago, it was broken beyond belief, and then I managed to fix it kind of just in time for the stream. So this is the newest, latest and greatest version. Actually, it's a little bit slower because there's still there's a few optimizations that I need to re-add using the new method. But we'll do some more testing today. Even though it looks exactly the same, it's completely refactored. So I have like a kind of drawing primitive that I can use to print words at a given location. Let's see. Yeah, so the way it prints now, before it was actually just doing a bunch of system printout, and I had like a little like caching layer that would just say like whatever coordinate the start of your string was, it would cache that in. But that ended up it's not very robust, because if you had like strings that overlapped and stuff, it didn't work in wide character mode, and there's a number of usability issues with that. And so I made it now so it crafts messages and sends them off to a new thread. And another one of the optimizations that I need to make is that I can do so if it starts slowing down, what it'll do is it'll just kind of print basically to another buffer, and then that way if you print too many times, it'll only refresh it to the screen as the thread is actually able to catch up. So it might send several screen update messages, and those all might get applied to the buffer, but then it only actually prints to the screen once, as long as the thread is actually able to catch up. So it looks like this screen, the analytics are updating, I think. It's always... Oh, okay, good. It is just changed. Yeah, it's annoying how... I guess, I don't know if that's within Kickstarter itself that it doesn't update if you're not in focus, but... And according to, doesn't make sense. It says I have one concurrent viewer, but the average view duration is changing. So I guess maybe that's maybe there's only one person dropping in for a minute and then they leave every time. So if you've followed along, you know that I started this Kickstarter 60 days ago, and I got funded in the first couple hours, and then I didn't really get any pledges. I think I had probably 55 days with no pledges, and then I actually got a $7 pledge this morning. So we'll see what I get up to in the next 27 minutes. Yeah, it was quite a headache to refactor this today. There's a whole bunch of different buffers and stuff that things go through, there's a set of flags to cycle through in an array to determine if a cell is changed. Because if I actually print the screen every single frame, the whole screen, it lags quite a bit. It's unusable. So I have to maintain a record of what has been printed to the screen, and then only when a part of the screen actually changes, then that's when it doesn't update. But there's also, I guess, the difference between the all the different coordinate spaces, because the Y for screen printing, so like if you do y equals 0, that prints up here. But if we want to print down here, you have to increase y as you go down, so it's the opposite from the traditional coordinate system. But then also, like when I go, so if I go up, if I'm going like physically up right now, you can see it's changing the z-axis, because that's the standard axis for, I just decided to go with the standard axis for games. So increasing, if you think about a graph, I'm increasing the y-axis, and so going between all these coordinate systems was just, I kept messing up the math on it. And to make it more complicated, I implemented it so you can update a given sub area of the screen. So to make it work with those offsets and stuff, it was just quite difficult. I kept trying to run it, and it was just like gibberish nonsense, and it's difficult to debug because it only does the difference printing. It's not actually printing the whole screen, so I couldn't figure out at first where I had gone wrong with my coordinates. And not too long, just maybe about an hour ago, I've actually got it working again. So we'll see if there's any crashes, because it's substantially different, even though it looks the same. We got our first chatter. Jonas Alves says thumbs up. Thank you for the positive sentiment. That bodes well for the rest of my stream. Looks like I've got some alignment issues here. It was basically all of this was completely rewritten. So the thesis statement of the Kickstarter is to build a help menu. So I guess I can do an update on what my progress is on actually implementing that. So I have it refactored, so the actual screen printing has been refactored so that it sends like more efficient drawing primitives, and this entire UI, I've separated that off into a new thread, and the eventual goal will be to, so now that this is all done using drawing primitives, I'm going to separate the game part into its own thread, and then every single pane is going to be its own thread, and like including the help menu. and they will all send messages to this centralized console writer thread. And the next step is, so right now this is all in one thread, but I'm going to separate this into two. And then I'm going to have to add a class for basically like implementing. I'll probably implement it as like a tree. It'll just be a tree of vertical splits and horizontal splits. And then I'll probably just add resizing operations, so that way, probably by like for a simple first implementation, I'll just make it like exactly half, and then actually just basically just like tmux or like Vim splits or something. So probably something like that, and then I don't know. I'll have to hold myself back from getting carried away from just implementing because I don't really want to just re-implement a terminal emulator, but really that's kind of what I want. Because if I have that, and I'm pretty close to having that, then any kind of user interface that I want to have, I can just easily add that if I already have the infrastructure. So if I want to add a help menu, like in equipment, how to equip items menu and stuff like that, because really that's it's like the first thing you need in a game is to have a user interface, and right now, this is just not quite that good. So anyway, that's the vision. And so once this is on, these are two separate threads. Then I'm going to add the third, thread that you can add will be the help menu. Actually, I'll probably have to add like I'm not sure how. Because I guess now I'm basically implementing like a windowing type system. So I'm going to need a way. Maybe I'll make it just tab character. So by default, tab character will just tab between the focus on the windows. And the other thing I had to change for that was I had to re-implement it. So re-implement the input. So input is read in by one centralized thread, and then that thread sends the messages of the input to the appropriate window that has focus. So right now it's just it just sends it to the list of all user interface items, and right now there's only one because this is the only one of them. But the eventual goal will be when you press keys, it'll figure out how to send that to the appropriate UI item. So that way you, like right now, the only way I can input anything is just up in the game area. So I can just spam the M key, and once I actually have more than one thread and a focusing mechanism, then when I press keys, I could just do like press tab, and then I'd be down here in the inventory area, and then I guess I could use the arrow keys or whatever to select a different item. Because right now, if I can press P to place a block, but the only block I can place is a rock, because I have no way of selecting the actual items. So that'll be one of the first things to implement with the inventory is the ability to select an item in the inventory and do something with it. Can you guys hear people laughing? I can't tell. The people upstairs are often quite loud. They were maybe I have a specific key for each item. I could. I think at some point there's going to be a necessity to implement like a more general ability to like move around and select stuff. A little bit. It's not too bad. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it sounds kind of loud here, but I can't tell if it's from the headphones or from the background. Strictly key bindings. You could do it that way, but at the same time, there's always going to be a need for like more user interface stuff. So I guess that could be in addition to like a manual select menu, you could maybe have like some kind of automatable key bindings. Could maybe even add a way to configure them. Yeah, and once you have the ability to actually add like a generic new user interface like pane, then there's actually a lot of like I was thinking I could add like debug information to one of the panels. So while I'm in the game, I'll have to look into it to see how much work it is. But I'm already logging stuff. I was thinking it'd be a great feature in the game if I could just like press like escape and then get like, you know, the help menu and go down to like open log, and then I have a log pane, and then in the log I can just see the log in real time. Weather has finally cleared up enough on a good day for me to clean out the garage. You hoard too much stuff. Is it cool stuff? I mean, some stuff is worth hoarding. You know, sometimes I feel like I hoard a lot. I have a lot of random junk here, but I actually use quite a bit of the stuff that I have. Stuff you wouldn't even consider worth keeping. Yeah, I guess it's if it's stuff you consider garbage, then I think a good test is like if you threw it away, like how much would it cost to reacquire it? Because if it's not too much, like if it's an old used thing, like a cheap 12-volt LED strip lighting that I use on occasion for a project. But if you use it on occasion, then stuff that makes projects easy to make in a couple hours instead of planning out days in advance to order. Yeah, actually, you know, a lot of the stuff that I have is, yeah, that's the other probably bigger thing about a lot of like simple junk is there's a lot of things that I have that the cost of them is basically zero, but having the thing saves a massive amounts of time. So really, the value in having a thing is like the amount of time it takes to acquire it. That's true, especially of a lot of household junk. If you think about the random things in your kitchen and stuff, if you think about how much money those things cost versus how much time, what is the value of the time you would waste if you had to reacquire them? Like imagine having to go to Walmart right now and buy like 200 different small things, like, you know, toothbrush and a blanket and, you know, some utensils and of course then like you gotta shop around, get stuff on sale. And you could just buy regular price, but then you get ripped off. pots and pans. It's like $100. Actually, I have I made a very good investment. I bought right after I graduated from university. I bought a pot set, a pot and like pots and pans, like super fancy. It was regular price $1,000, but it was on sale for $300. It was called the True Clad Twilling $300 pot set, and it was a very good investment. They've kept in good shape all these years, and they're like pretty easy to clean and stuff. Very, very good investment to buy a decent pot set. I mean, they're probably I've actually looked for a couple of them to like buy for people as a gift to see if I could buy the same thing. And they've gone up in value, and they're basically like they're basically the same condition when I bought them, which is, wow, this 10 years ago now. Okay, we're down to the final 9 minutes on the Kickstarter. So how much will it go up to? Will I get a surprise $1 million pledge in the last minute? The suspense is incredible. So I have to set up surveys for the Kickstarter. I think I was 3 people that pledged for to sponsor a custom block type. So I've got to set up a survey. I forgot to do that earlier, but I'll do that, work on that tonight, and get that sent out ASAP. So if you are one of the 3 sponsors, then you can let me know what custom block type you want added. And of course, you can choose what name you want to have added to the credits, which will actually, that's one of the things, the big things I've wanted to have for quite a while, is to actually have it in the game, so you can see who sponsored a given block type, and so that'll be one of the things I'll have to put in the help menu. What would you consider the most pointless household item that everyone has? I don't know. I mean, if everyone has it, then it's going to be difficult for it to be pointless. Unless you want to make like a pun out of that. And like the most, I don't know. What's the most round thing that you own that doesn't have a point? Most pointless household item. Teaspoons, yeah. I guess some people who bake a lot would definitely make lots of use of teaspoons. Yeah, I mean, I think one time I bought flour because I was like, oh yeah, I'll bake some stuff and use this, and then I never used it at all, and eventually ended up throwing it out. I got some I think I got there was some bugs in some of my other food, so I just went through a round of throwing it all out. All right, we're now down to the final 60 seconds. Will it surprise us all? Is there some huge mystery backer waiting to pledge in the very last second. Seconds. 10 seconds. All right, there we go. The final verdict. Trash bags are a good one for me. It's really meta, and it's an item that people purchase for the express purpose of throwing away. Actually, I've changed my shopping habits. I specifically shop at a store that gives me plastic bags just so I can use them for garbage. Just joined the stream, and Jill, this game looks like fire. Thank you. It's actually not that great. It's pretty basic, but I've been working on massively refactoring how it works over the last few weeks, and I'm working on some big updates to the design. So to hopefully add some more features and make it a bit more interesting. I think the streams are pretty boring. Does seem a bit laggier tonight. I think that's just because of the there was a bunch of the optimizations that I had to remove during the most recent round of refactoring. I think in the current iteration, it's issuing a bunch of ANSI escape sequences for every single character. So even though technically it could write out like contiguous pieces of text, it's actually not smart enough to do that at the moment. So it'll print out like one character, and then it repositions explicitly using another ANSI escape code to go to the next position. So I'm sure that's actually a decent source of lag. Right now I'm looking for an ore vein, because that's basically the only thing to do in the game at the moment is mine some ore. You can't really do much with it other than craft a slightly better pickaxe, and then you can use that to mine more ore. But right now you can't really do anything with any of the objects in the game. So before I can actually implement the ability to add features to do things with items, I need an actual better inventory system and stuff. Something where you can actually go down and select an inventory item, which you can't do that right now. I hate it when bees randomly try to attack you. Don't go outside, Robert, it's crazy. That is pretty unfortunate, but as long as you don't stand on their nest or something, usually you're pretty good. I guess I've got a bug in my chunk loading algorithm. It's not loading those chunks. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's just really slow. It's kind of odd. It's weird. Why is it? Those U's should be, those should load. It looks like they are kind of, but I don't know what's up with that. Maybe I have a bug in the, maybe they are loaded, but it's not, maybe it's a bug in my rendering. Because I did make updates to it. I haven't noticed that before, so it must be a new bug. Let's go ore. Yeah, I probably have to change the balance of the ore, because I find that I never make progress. I'm always out of everything. Finally have iron oxide, but I got no wood to make a pickaxe. But I guess it's probably I think if the resources are on the edge where like you kind of always feel like you're running out, then that's probably the optimal balance. Because if you have too much, then it just doesn't feel rewarding or challenging. Oh, I'm out of wood again. Let's see. 582, 5539. Remember that. And now I'm out of wood and iron oxide at the same time. Now let's go back to where I was. What's my favorite album? I don't know. I'm not sure if I even listen to like albums much. I'd say I listen to quite a bit of stuff just on YouTube, like random stuff that gets recommended. It depends on what mood I'm in. But then again, I guess in certain moods I listen to like random, like I'll usually listen to like go back and forth between a couple of random songs, listen to them over and over again. I really like the funk music that's recommended. I guess I got hooked on that from the like some of those music videos of like the funk car music where they're like driving around in really expensive cars, and at nighttime with like, they have like really good cinematography. And yeah, and some of the funk music that's like edited into like really, interesting clips and stuff. You see some of those on TikTok as well. And then I guess random pop. Actually, I would say a lot of the music I listen to is whatever's like trending on YouTube, and it's kind of, I find quite frequently I'll find a new song and be like, oh, that's a really good song, and then it almost immediately starts showing up like random streamers or whatever I'll hear. It almost seems like everyone is getting fed the same stuff by the algorithm. Kind of comes in waves now. But I guess in terms of like albums, back when I was in high school, I used to listen to Black Sabbath and stuff. Lots of rock music. I played guitar for a little bit. It was never good, but eventually I decided like, this is one thing I don't really care enough to be good at. Classical music. I guess there's a few like I don't know what we call them. What genre? Like the music and that you see in movies. Soundtracks. Philip Glass is. I really like a lot of his stuff. And then there's I really like the soundtrack for the was it the Dark Knight Rises? That was a really good soundtrack. Been listening to lots of Pink Floyd. Yeah, I used to listen to Pink Floyd. That was kind of back when I was into old school rock, and was thinking, hey, maybe I should learn how to play guitar well. I think I downloaded Pink Floyd's The Wall movie. And I guess that stuff was all like, it was iconic art back in the day. But I guess now there's like back in those days when that stuff first came out, there was nothing like that. But now there's so many entertaining things. I mean, it was good, but it was also like a lot of that music. It was iconic of an era, and like part of the appeal of it is like, it's for people who want to go back to that time and remember that time in their lives when that music was popular. So like if you were not born into that generation, you didn't go through that era, it's like less it's not quite, it doesn't have quite the appeal. Well, I think I've proved that it doesn't crash tonight, despite my refactor. I think there may still be a bit of a bug with the chunk loading. Like it's still that should have loaded by now. But yeah. Anyway, the Kickstarter was funded successfully. I'll work on the surveys and get those out at least by tomorrow. And then I had been doing 2 streams a week, but I'll probably I'll switch back to once a week, because streaming's not really my forte, and I gotta get through a whole bunch of other work. So yeah, I will see you guys on Saturday next week, and I will work on getting the actual help menu implemented in this game, and then get that released. So anyway, talk to you later, guys.